If your business is stuck and you're honest with yourself, you'll ask yourself, why is my business not growing? And I remember starting this business with my dad at $0. And then I also remember growing the business to $10 million and being stuck there for almost 10 years. I remember being at an event and the speaker talked about a fly flying into a window over and over again, eventually until it died. When it also had the option of flying around the corner and going through a door that was open to the whole world. It literally reminded me of myself because doing so much to grow the business to 10 million, I was just burning myself out. And I needed to do everything myself in the beginning because I didn't have anybody that I could rely on. I taught myself a lot of great lessons, but there comes a time when you need to start integrating people into the business, and I didn't do that. The number one thing that kills growth in the construction business is the owner trying to do everything themselves. There's a limit to how much time is in a day. We each have 24 hours. For us, the first person that I hired that really came in and took things off my plate was my finance guy. I literally was able to offload all of the data entry, all of the bookkeeping that we had to do with our accountant at the end of the month and at the end of the quarter and at the end of the year. And once I got all of that stuff off my plate, now all of a sudden I could focus on the projects, bidding the projects with all of my energy, which allowed us to continue to grow. And then the next person that I brought into the company was someone on the project side to help me process submittals and RFIs, help communicate with the team in the field and the government. It gave us additional capacity to complete more projects. And then the next person that we brought in was someone on the estimating team. It allowed us to continue to go after projects, even though I was on project execution duty. Most contractors make this mistake because they have the mentality that no one else can do it as good as I can do it. And yes, that might be true, but somebody doing it 80% of what you could do it is still better than you not growing. They're learning and I can get them up to doing it at 100%. That is when everything helped change in the organization and gave us the capacity that we needed to continue to grow and handle the pressure and the stress that more projects come with. You know, there's been so many times where I would ask somebody to do something and they didn't show up, they didn't do it. And through all of that, I'm like, man, I can't trust anybody. I got to do everything on my own. That mentality only keeps you in your spot. It doesn't allow you to expand. It doesn't allow you to get additional capacity in the organization. Sometimes you got to look yourself in the mirror. Are you doing the things in the marketplace that will attract those team members to come join your team? They're out there. We got them on our team. I made the mistake of trying to do everything on my own for a number of years in McKinsey. And it really stood out to me when I was having my first child. I was in the labor room with my wife. We had this big meeting with the government down in Corpus Christi, Texas. We had a superintendent on site who had told me that they wanted to take on more responsibility. They wanted to make more money. And I literally trained the person for 8 years up to this point. They knew how I ran meetings. They knew how I took ownership during meetings. And the team member was literally sleeping in his car while things were not happening correctly in the field. And because those things were not happening correctly in the field, the government wanted to have this meeting. For the meeting, I tell them, make sure you take ownership. The team member went to that meeting and did not take ownership, started pointing his finger and blaming, oh, well, the lines weren't marked out. And the government literally ate him alive. And it was at that moment, I'm like, man, there's real opportunity here, but I need to find team members to help me go after this opportunity and get this opportunity to the finish line. And during that exact same project down in Corpus Christi, Texas, while I was literally trying to solve all these problems created by not doing good work in the field, we had also hired an estimator at the same time. And that estimator came in and was fully focused on going after new projects. And we would review the proposals before we submitted them, but I was focused on getting the projects to the finish line, and specifically this project that was sucking a lot of my time. We messed up big time and we had to make this correct. I got it to the finish line and I was literally like, oh man, now we're gonna have to go after and get all of this work. And instead, I looked at our backlog and I'm like, oh, we have $1 million project in Arizona. We have a $1.8 million project in Corpus Christi, Texas. We have another $1 million project in Hilliard, Florida. This all happened because while I was fully focused on execution in the field and the estimating was getting accepted, the number 2 mistake that keeps contractors from growing is they don't align those team members to the business. They're not training them properly. They're going out there and bidding projects, creating a mess. Now all of a sudden, all of this stuff is falling back on the business owner. I thought I was gonna bring all these people in and grow my business, but now I've created more messes. The reason why most contractors make this mistake is because they're not confident in the way they estimate projects, so they bring in a team member that says they're an estimator, and they let that person come into the business and estimate projects the way they want to estimate projects. Not the way the business owner has created success in the past. They underbid the project. They didn't put the right materials on the project. All of the messes that can be created on the estimating side. This is all a confidence game. You need to be confident. The system that I had created, bringing team members in to do exactly the same repeatable steps that I did to create success. Then they got the results and the business was able to continue to grow. The solution that we now implement in our business is we train our team members. tell them what we need them to do. We then show them what we need them to do. We then let them do it, and then we start coaching them on it. And during this process, especially that initial training, we make sure we record it. That allows that team member to go back to that recording and watch it over and over again. They can then come back to the team member that's training them and say, hey, this is the finished product. How does this look? That has been a game changer in the organization. One of the first team members that we brought into the business to help take things off my plate was supposed to be just helping with project management. But because I didn't have a real process for aligning people to the business, I had the person doing everything. I had them doing estimating. I had them helping out with finance. I had them doing project management. That just turned out to be a complete disaster. There wasn't trainings on all of those things. It just got crazy. Let's bring people in, but let's just have them focus on one specific thing. You're gonna come in and you're gonna be an estimator. You're gonna estimate projects. The third mistake is not letting the team members that are coming in actually take things off their plate. The capacity that this should create in the organization is not created. As the business owner, you need to be focused on the strategy and the things that are gonna really move the needle for the business. By you not focused on that, staying stuck in the nitty gritty of the business after you've trained your team members keeps the business stuck where it's at. And the reason why this kills the growth of the business is because the business owner is like the captain of the ship. They're not on the top of the ship looking out for the icebergs, and instead they're down on the bottom of the ship pulling all the lines in. Then the ship hits that iceberg, everybody's in trouble. And the reason why most contractors make this mistake is that they're so used to the day-to-day that they can't remove themselves. I am so ingrained in putting together submittals, putting together RFIs, responding to emails, putting out fires, that it's hard for me to take a step back. But I also know that if I'm stuck doing that, I can't see out into the future what we need to really be working on to help grow the business to the next level. And McKinsey made this mistake specifically in the field. Superintendents, quality control managers, and site safety and health officers. They had additional capacity that they could utilize in the organization. One of the things that we now have them do is we have them help us out with our site visits. They go to Idaho, they go to California, they go to New Jersey, Texas, Florida, all over the United States, provide us the information that we need. They tell us about access, they get us pictures. It's all because we train them on the process and actually come in and do it. Stalling in the construction business is an easy trap to fall into. However, it doesn't have to be that way. If you stop doing everything yourself, you start aligning your team members to the business, and then once you get those great team members, allow them to actually take things off your plate and add the capacity to the business. If you got value from this, go ahead and let me know by hitting that subscribe button. And if you find another contractor that could get value from this and implement this in their business, share it with them. Let's roll and have a great day.